Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
Now, Terrell, run the road again!
Hey guys! Hey! I'm having a press conference, okay?
Their fat little girlfriends have some obvious advantages. For one thing, their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear.
It's Division I football! Hey, murals!
All right. Welcome back to the Hoppy Huddle podcast. I'm Jake, and that's Ed. And today we are doing Week 12 previews. And this is one of those weekends where it looks sleepy on the surface. But if you just dig a little deep, you're going to realize there's a lot of potential for insanity to happen, especially with the 12
Did you say that last
playoffs.
weekend?
Yes,
I think
and
you
you
said
know what?
that last
I
weekend.
keep saying that because it keeps making awesome stuff happen. So I'm going to keep saying it because awesome things keep happening on weekends when you wouldn't normally expect it, because that's why college football is the greatest sport. There's a ton of great matchups.
How about we just say it's another great weekend of college football?
It's another great weekend of college football. I keep saying it because it keeps being true. There's only 2 ranked matchups this weekend. Honestly, besides the Georgia-Tennessee one, there's a lot of unranked matchups or ranked versus unranked that are insanely exciting and have crazy potential.
Yeah. First, before we get there, any thoughts on the updated college football rankings from last night?
It's all a scam.
Well, let me read you here. Yeah, well, it is. Let me read you 2 teams, Team A and Team B.
I don't even know what the teams are, but I know how this is going to go.
Team A, 81 record, number 14 in ESPN's strength of record. Best win is versus an SP Plus is a number 20. Their loss came only to a top 10 team by 3. They have 4 wins versus a Power 4 versus winning record, and by an average of 14 points. Team B, 81 record, number 11 in the strength of record. Best win is an SP Plus is over a number 28, so their best win isn't as high. Loss came to a top 15 team by 15, so their loss is worse. They only got 1 win versus a Power 4 by 3 points. Team A clearly has a better resume.
Yeah.
Their team is SMU. They're ranked 13th. Team B is Texas. You have got to be kidding me. This makes no sense whatsoever. Oh, and let's not even throw out Penn State's record in there. How is it? This thing is a joke. This thing is being set. It was set up by the big conferences. They're going to reward the big conferences. It makes me mad every time I look at it.
I hate to be that guy, but I told you this was going to be worse.
Well, it wasn't any worse than before, because before it was, SMU had no chance. Now at least they have a small chance.
Well, if SMU was in the ACC before, they would.
No. The only thing the committee did right this week is they did bump up Indiana and BYU.
Indiana should still be above Penn State, and I stand by that. But
of course they should. They don't have anything in the loss column. Penn State hasn't beaten anybody.
BYU makes a little more sense because they have barely scraped by like 3 bad teams, so I understand.
But they have a 0 in the loss column.
I understand, but like context matters, and the context with Indiana is they obliterate teams. The context with BYU is that they barely scraped by an awful Utah team.
Tell me what's so great. I mean, they should be above BYU. I'm fine with BYU at 6. They should be above Tennessee. They should be above Notre Dame.
Yeah,
They should be above Miami
I agree.
at this point.
First of all, how is Notre Dame above SMU? And that just makes no sense. And Miami. That makes no sense.
My friend Brian came into my office this week. Brian, I work with him, good friend of mine. He's a solid listener to the show. Doesn't listen to us live, but listens to us every week. He made the argument for Notre Dame. I'm listening to you, Brian. I'm listening.
Look, I understand Notre Dame's been blowing teams out, but SMU has too, and SMU has played a tougher schedule.
Yeah, they have. And my point on Brian, I said, was, listen, yeah, they beat Georgia Tech. They beat Georgia Tech without Haynes King. I mean, that loss was, I think it's, but yeah, again, this thing gets jumped up, and then you start throwing Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia. And Georgia people complain about where they want. How about stop losing?
They should be lower.
How about stop losing every other week?
Georgia should be lower.
Yes. SMU should be higher than Georgia. SMU should be higher than Alabama.
Boise should be higher than Georgia.
Yeah, Boise. I don't know. You can make an argument. Boise doesn't play the same schedules as other teams.
Maybe.
Yeah, this thing. At least with them bumping up Indiana, I feel better about Indiana's chances of making it now. I think Indiana will slide in, even if they lose to Ohio State. They might just slide in on that 10th, 11th spot at the end of the day.
I tend to agree.
But we're clearly going to get 4 big. I think the way it's set
LSU
now,
shouldn't be ranked, but
what's that?
LSU shouldn't be ranked.
Oh, come on. They've only got LSU and Missouri in the back end to prop up the SEC. We know why that exists. We talked about
Well, yeah, of course. That's exactly why.
And Missouri's going to get bounced this week because they're going to play. Who do they? Don't they play?
Missouri or South Carolina will get bounced. One of the two of them will lose.
As I said, Missouri's going to get bounced this week.
Yeah.
I mean,
at 20, South Carolina at 21, Missouri at 23. The loser of that is gone.
Yeah. So,
low-key, Washington State, like, they're slowly moving up the rankings. No, they're not making the playoff. I'm just saying they're slowly moving up, and it's like they've had a pretty impressive season, like pretty underrated impressive season.
Yeah.
Only loss coming to Boise State, which, as we've discussed, is a great team.
Oh, well. We'll keep going. We got a few more weeks of this. It'll sort itself out. I do find it interesting that it looks like, somehow Bama's going to make this thing, aren't they?
This is what I said. When you expand the playoff and the historic brands lose, you're just making room to sneak them in and give them second chances.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
If there's a 14th playoff, Bama doesn't make it this year. No chance. 0.
Yeah. If Tennessee loses this week, I think Tennessee's case for making it goes out the window as far as I'm concerned. Because they only got they'll have 1 win. And other than that, they're impressive. Their schedule's unimpressive.
If there's a 14 playoff, the 4 teams would be it'd be Oregon, BYU, Penn State, probably Ohio State, maybe.
Well, we don't know where it's going to get to.
And then Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably.
We just don't know who's going to come out of the SEC. So
yeah, but anyway, playoff rant.
All right,
we're done with that.
All right, let's move
on.
Lobbyists.
The network have all bought up the sport.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, let's move on to this week. Let's talk about this week's games.
Yeah, we got some good games this week, and I'm excited. I think we got to talk about Tennessee, Georgia first. That's the big one.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. So, okay, I have not been side note here, real quick. I have not been dialed into the Nico injured or not drama on Twitter. Do you know what's going on with that? And
yeah, he's listed, the last I saw within a couple hours, he's listed as questionable on the injury report. He's in that was this afternoon. He is in the concussion protocol, whatever that means. I mean, you never know at what point where a person is in that protocol.
Yeah.
The line, it's hard for me to get a read on this line. The line sure reads like Nico's going to be out, feels like.
I tend to agree, but
10.5 point line, that's a pretty big line for Georgia. I know it's at home.
Did you see the drama with Chris Felica, the Bear? Basically said, he called and said Nico's out. And then Shannon Terry of On3 replied, no, he's not out. He's still in. A bunch of people were like, no, we can confirm he's still in. Other people were like, no, he's out. So it's a lot of good named, well-sourced people disagreeing strong on this. And this is super weird. Normally if there's disagreement, you just don't hear anything.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on there.
I think I watched the betting line, and when the betting line's 10.5 over a game that even if Georgia, let's say if Nico was at full strength and Georgia was at home, to me that feels like a 4 or 5 point game for Georgia, maybe, or a 3 point game. I mean, Tennessee would be the higher ranked team.
Yeah. So let's talk about that game. What do you see going into this game as some of the things that'll determine the matchup?
Well, again, you got to tell me if Nico's going to play or not. I mean, let's assume he's not going to play. I think it's
assume Nico doesn't play.
Then I think it's a real problem for Tennessee because they don't score a lot of points to begin with. Now you've taken their quarterback, who they've depended on all year. I just don't see how they score enough points to beat Georgia. As bad as Georgia's playing, I think Georgia's can score 25 points, probably. And I don't see Tennessee scoring 25 points.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and...
what do you think?
Tennessee has not given up 25 points all year. by the way, to any team. I think the most they've given up is 19. Tennessee's defense is really good.
Let's get our intern to fact check that real quick.
I'm like 90% sure Tennessee has not given up more than 20 points all season. I could be wrong on this.
Well, they're giving up. I understand they're 5th in the country in points. I mean, they're only giving up 12 a game. But I guess I feel, and we've criticized the Georgia offense a lot, but they're not playing.
And here's my analysis on this game, and this is kind of informed.
Yeah, you're right.
The
most they gave up was Arkansas 19.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Arkansas game. Yeah, my bet in this game, I'm taking Tennessee plus 10.5 because I honestly don't think it matters a ton whether Nico plays or not. And here, obviously, long term it matters. Nico has not been the driver of Tennessee's offense this season. He can come in big for a couple of big plays, but mostly this offense has run through the running back Dylan Sampson.
Yeah, but he was hurt too. I mean, we don't know exactly.
I think we're probably a lot more sure that he's playing.
Yeah, and I didn't see whether he was listed as questionable. I mean, I think
I don't. He might be listed as questionable, but like I'm pretty sure that he's playing.
Not on the injury report.
Yeah, he's playing, and so Tennessee can run the ball really well. Georgia, while Georgia's pass rush has been pretty good, they have given up some on the ground. They're still a good defensive front, but to me, Tennessee can hold the ball, they can run the ball, and Tennessee's defense is one of the best in the country. And you're telling me Carson Beck, with no receivers, no offensive line, and no run game, is going to go up against that Tennessee defense and score enough to win? If he throws 2 interceptions, Tennessee can have a pretty mediocre to bad offensive performance, and they can still, they could win. This game could be 14-3. I don't know. I really just don't think. I have zero faith in Georgia's offense, and Tennessee's defense I have a ton of faith in, and that leads me to betting Tennessee plus 10.5, whether Nico is in or not. I even still think Tennessee has a pretty decent chance to win the game as well, just because I don't trust Georgia's offense at all. Maybe you have some of that, the factor, like if Georgia's offense isn't moving the ball at all, there could be eventually you wear down the defense with Tennessee. Tennessee's offensive line's been pretty good as well. Eventually you sort of wear down the defense, the offensive line and the running game. And even if you don't throw the ball a lot with the backup, I think Tennessee may come out on top. I'm not sure about an upset because I'm not taking money line, but I will definitely take 10.5 points, considering I think it'll be a low scoring game.
You make a compelling argument, but here's where I'm going to differ on with you. And I just don't know. I think Gaston Moore, I guess, would start if Nico's not playing. I'm gonna bet that Nico will play if he can. But let's assume Nico's playing. Georgia hasn't scored less than 30 points, except for 2 games this year. Part of it is the defense I'm not saying this is because Carson Beck. I think their defense, when their defense is playing well, creates short field opportunities.
Yes, you're right.
And so that's where you create the points, and even sometimes the defense scores. So, I mean, when you look at they scored 34 against Bama. They scored 30 against Texas. I mean, the only time they struggled against 2 good defensive teams, Kentucky, questionable, Ole Miss, very good defensive team, which I think Ole Miss is probably comparable to Tennessee, was on the road. This game's at home. It's going to be a night game. I think Sanford Stadium's going to be rocking. I think that is enough in my mind. And then if you take Nico out of the equation, I just feel like it's got a recipe for Georgia's been backed into a corner now, and I trust that Georgia team. I don't know why, but I just have a gut feeling that they'll probably come out and play them tough.
I don't trust them at all.
I know.
I have zero trust in this Georgia team.
I'm looking at Georgia the last 6 years, and I'm going, when are they going to show up? And I could be wrong.
This doesn't look like the Georgia of the last 6 years.
I think Nacho Man 57 is right. I think this may be a good underplay.
The total is 47.5. So that's kind of low. I don't know if I would really bet the under on 47.5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Georgia. I will give the points away. I think this could be a
10.5.
Yeah, I mean,
Or did the line move, or is it still 10.5?
No, it's 10.5.
Okay.
My guess is, and that's a lot for Georgia. I got to feel that the reason that line's there is Nico's not playing, and I think if Nico's out, I think that really hurts Tennessee.
It definitely does. It's not like no loss, but I think in this matchup specifically, because Tennessee's got a great defense, Georgia's got a struggling offense, I think it's not as big of a factor as it would normally be.
I think if Nico comes in and is able to play, I think then obviously that line's going to move and I'm toast. And then I think Tennessee's got a better shot. I think this will be an interesting game. This is an elimination game, I think, for both, because I think we talked about this a few minutes ago. It's an elimination for Tennessee because I don't think a 2-loss Tennessee team has a great resume.
Win over Alabama?
That's it. It's a week beyond that. Everything else is weak.
Yeah, but I don't know. Playoff discussion, if Alabama's there, you get in over Bama.
Yeah, but you're going to have Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, and Georgia at that point ahead of them. They'd be fifth in line.
Yeah, and then you jump Alabama because you have the head-to-head.
Alabama would have a better overall record, I think.
But I think you still would take, because you're comparing the two teams, you would take anyway.
I don't know. They're going to give it to Bama or
whatever.
We'll get there. It's definitely an elimination game for Georgia because I don't think
it absolutely is an elimination game for Georgia. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, I got Tennessee, but we will see. Let's see. Where do we want to go next? How about matchup in Provo, Utah? We've got Kansas at BYU, and you may be thinking undefeated BYU, 3-6 Kansas. What's the line on this? 15, 20. It's 2.5. It's
why?
2.5 points.
Why?
Let me tell you why. Because sneakily, over the last 2 weeks, Kansas has just started scoring like crazy. All right?
I know that, yeah.
They obliterated Iowa State last week. They scored 40, 45, 50 points on them, and then they gave them a couple garbage time points to make it closer than it looked. This is at Provo at night. This is a tough environment. You never it is insanely difficult to go in there at night and win. And I'm taking Kansas plus the 2.5 because before you doubt me, BYU beat Utah, and Utah plus 2.5 still cashed. Okay,
no, I know.
Because BYU plays razor thin, close to the wire every single week. And so even if the BYU magic continues, I still think it'll be an insanely close game. And the 2.5 points might just help me cover. I think Kansas can score a lot. I think that I'm not sure. BYU's been cutting it so close every single week. One of these weeks they're going to slip up. And it would make a lot of sense to go up against an overlooked possible team with a good offense. That's a combo that you don't want to mess with. So give me Kansas plus 2.5. Jalen Daniels has finally figured out that he's a quarterback and he should play football again. And the last 2 weeks he's looked really good, especially against that Iowa State defense, which is, in my opinion, better than BYU's defense.
Yeah, I'm going to take BYU at home. I don't think this is the game where they flip up. I think too many factors at home. Kansas has been too inconsistent. I do think Kansas has gotten better lately, but give me BYU at home. They may lose another game. May lose a game BYU. It's not going to be this one.
All right. Where do you want to go next?
Let's go to the Swamp.
All right. Yeah, let's go to the Swamp.
Where the team that has cost me more money this year, LSU, betting either for or against them.
No, I'm saying you think we should go to the Swamp?
Maybe we should go to the Swamp.
Yeah, we should go. Let's go to the Swamp.
Let's go to the Swamp this weekend. I think we need to check this game out.
I think we're going to go to visit the Swamp this weekend. We're going on the road again.
Yeah, Hoppy Huddle's going on the road. It's an interesting matchup. LSU coming off the beat down to Alabama this past weekend, goes into Florida, and with 3 losses now, I got to question whether or not this team has any fight left in them. I think they just it'll be interesting to see if they really start to give up. Do people start hearing portal whispers? I mean, the folks down there in Baton Rouge are mad at Brian Kelly. They're mad that they didn't take people out of the portal this year. I mean, this team could easily quit. I don't know. We're going to see. I don't know if they are or not. They're going to be playing a feisty Florida team that's been pretty competitive other than the Texas game. DJ Lagway should be back for this game. All signs are pointing in that direction. Florida's a 4.5-point underdog. I think LSU needs to be careful here because if they don't come out 100% focused, they're gonna get bit here. I mean, I think Florida could take them in the Swamp. It's a 4.5-point game. It won't surprise me at all if Florida just wins this straight up. I'm gonna take Florida on 4.5. I think they're gonna get them this week. They need this victory to get to a bowl game, and that's important right now for Billy Napier and that staff.
Yeah. So before the season, I mentioned that Florida was going to be pretty bad. I was pretty correct about that. But Florida's been, they've been feisty. They've kind of hit rock bottom last week against Texas. Not a great performance. Third string quarterback. So, not a ton of confidence going into this game. But give me Florida plus 4.5 with the points, because let me tell you what, LSU, Brian Kelly on the road, how does he do? Even when he was at Notre Dame, how did he do on the road?
Not good.
Not fantastic. This Florida team, both of these schools sort of, it's kind of a rivalry, like unofficially a rivalry.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
kind of unofficial. They play a lot and they don't like each other.
They don't like each other. It's an unofficial rivalry. I'm not, with the SEC and Big Ten and every team is rivalry with everyone. You never know these days. Yeah. But give me Florida plus 4.5 because, like I said, DJ is coming back. I think Florida, the Swamp is loud, one of the best environments. I think the Florida team, I agree with you. I think they're good on defense. I think people have figured out. I said this last week when I leaned Alabama. I think people have figured out the LSU code, which is drop 8 in coverage, and just dare them to run the ball, and they can't, and then you just pick off.
Yeah, I think that'll be fine for Florida's defense. I think
that's the cheat code. Florida has struggled in the secondary, so they'll be more than happy to drop a bunch of extra people in coverage, and their dudes up front are passable. But with LSU's run game, I don't really think they're getting a lot of movement on it. Like that, it's pretty bad. So yeah, all this basically leans me to Florida plus 4.5, and I have bet that. So
yeah. So that'll be fun to watch that. That's your
can't wait to be there.
3:30 game. Yeah. Sing a little, won't back down after the end of the third quarter. That's always fun. So all right. Let's see. Let's go to the great swing state of Pennsylvania and let's talk Pitt, Clemson.
All right, man. This is these teams 2 weeks ago were sitting pretty, and now they are both staring down the barrel of the abyss. And I love a good feisty Pat Narduzzi team as the next one, but I will say, this is where Dabo does his best work. He is known for going 10-2. He does that every season that they don't make the playoff, basically. So I got Clemson winning this one. I don't have a bet on it because I just sort of don't know how the game exactly is going to turn out. I think Clemson comes out at the end. They just have more talent than Pitt. And I think Klubnik is much better than Holstein. And so more talent and better quarterback. So give me Clemson.
Virginia beat Pitt last week when Holstein was injured. I've not paid attention if Holstein's out in this game. If he is, then
even if he's in,
Clemson has a slim hopes of making playoffs, but they've got to win to do this. And Clemson better worry about that South Carolina game at the end of the season. See, that's why they still have a shot at this thing and will win. To get to the ACC and to win against South Carolina
if South Carolina wins out.
Yeah. So I think Clemson wins this game, and that'll help boost up their resume just slightly. So
okay, all right.
You've got a lot of unranked versus ranked matchups. If you stay in the ACC, you got Virginia versus Notre Dame. The Cavaliers going to South Bend.
All right.
Really, rest in peace, Virginia. I mean. Virginia.
That was a cute win over Pitt. Glad that we got that huge W for the program. Notre Dame has Virginia faster, stronger dudes at every position.
Well, yeah, but Virginia is one of the better teams the last 2 years against the spread, and I can't see the spread on FanDuel because I'm in Virginia. What do you see on what's the spread?
It's over 20.
You know what? I mean, I can't bet it.
I don't remember. Let me look.
I mean, I could go to another website, but I just pulling up the app and you think.
Oh, hold on. Let me look real quick.
Which makes no sense because what do these stupid state boundaries have to do with anything anymore? Thank you, General Assembly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's 22.5.
Yeah, if I could bet it, I would bet. I'd take those points in Virginia. Virginia's just slippery enough that they could. I mean, they They did the little backdoor cover against Clemson earlier. They're really good against the spread. They lose, but
yeah.
And Notre Dame may just be looking ahead and kind of like, we'll let some points go in the second half. I think if you're betting, Virginia's not going to win, but they can be feisty enough to get to cover against these points.
I could see that happening, but Notre Dame's just been obliterating teams the last few weeks, and nothing on Virginia's defense makes me think that they can stop Riley Leonard and Notre Dame's offense.
Yeah, let's talk about Riley Leonard all of a sudden. Have they found a quarterback in him in the last few weeks?
I mean, we knew he was good. I guess they didn't figure out how to use him until like week 7.
All of a sudden he's starting to really look like a quarterback. Do you realize their defense is only 3rd in the country? They're scoring 12th in the country. I mean,
what's opponent adjusted defense? Do you have that?
No, I don't have the adjusted. No.
Okay. I was just curious because they've had a pretty easy schedule. So.
Well, they have, but Riley Leonard has picked it up. The intercept. He has. He's finally throwing a few touchdowns. I mean, again, this is not my favorite to win the national championship, but all of a sudden this team looks more like deserving of a playoff spot. So
I think if there was ever a year for Notre Dame to win the national championship, it would be this year because there are no elite teams. So this would be probably their best shot in the last,
except Oregon.
Since 2007.
Except Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah. But, there's always a chance they get upset by random luck in one game scenario. So,
and let me tell you, there's another elite team. We saw them last week, and it's Ole Miss. They just got to get to the playoff. I think that team's really good right now, and they're humming.
They are really good. So, yeah, maybe we'll see.
We'll see. They got to get there first.
Yeah,
which was an interesting point. Sidebar, real quick. Their schedule's pretty easy here on out. I mean, the committee was pretty favorable to Ole Miss, and they're only going to keep going higher because there's going to be people ahead of them that are going to lose. I think basically the rankings this week showed us that Ole Miss is going to be in the playoff, assuming they don't lose. I mean, even if they make it to the SEC championship, which is a possibility, I think whoever makes the SEC championship, even if you end up with a 3rd loss, you're going to the playoff.
Yeah, I think it's just like the fact that there's so many teams are down this year that you're going to have probably a 3-loss team in.
Well, I will say a 3-loss team that made the SEC championship.
Yes,
I mean, that's where the battle is going to be. A 3-loss team that made the championship game and lost versus a 2-loss team that didn't make it. That's what's going to be the interesting debate.
Yeah. And I honestly, in this year, 12 is probably way too many this year to have a playoff. There's not 12 teams that deserve a shot.
We need to go to 16. That would solve it.
It should be 6.
16?
No, 4 or 6. Honestly, 6.
Yeah.
5 P5 champions in a group of 5.
Bring back 12.
It's Power 4 now, but
bring back the South Conference. So
we got Texas versus Arkansas. What do you think about that old Southwest? Speaking of the Southwest Conference,
I think Texas is going to roll them. Absolutely roll them. Arkansas has been mailing it in. It seems like the last few weeks.
Taylon Green's back and healthy though.
Yeah. I don't think. I think Texas is finding its sea legs right now. I think Quinn Ewers, when he got hurt, it took him a little while. I think he looked like he finally started playing well last week, and I don't think this will be much of a game.
Okay, that's kind of my thoughts as well. But it's an interesting matchup. In the G5 ranks, Tulane Navy is actually a pretty good game.
I mean, they're going to lose out here. Are they going to keep Sam Pittman?
I don't know.
At 5 wins?
I have no idea.
They don't make a bowl.
Do the Walmart family and the Tyson family want to give the money? I don't
know. It's interesting.
Unclear.
Let's see. Where do we want to
I said Tulane Navy is an interesting game. Navy high scoring, but it'll affect the American race. And on the off chance that Boise loses, Tulane Navy or Army. Army's probably gonna lose to Notre Dame. Tulane Navy, AAC winner could have a chance at the G5 bid if some chaos happens with the other G5 teams. So
I completely agree. If Boise loses, it's going to be
that
Tulane
may
or
be
Army.
a game to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Tulane's had a sneaky good season.
Yes. Colorado, Utah.
Do we think Utah has a chance in this game?
Probably not.
No.
No.
And Colorado's been beating the tar out of people recently.
They have. They absolutely
Their point
have.
margin's been really good. I mean, we've got to give it up for the Buffaloes. I mean, here, listen, you gave me a hard time at the beginning of the season when I said they were a bowl team. I was wrong. They're not a bowl team. They're a playoff team. And you were definitely.
Here we go. I know I was wrong.
Now, I know they should have one more loss on their schedule thanks to some slipped turf. But, they're only I mean, I still don't understand the Nebraska loss. I cannot explain that for the life of me at this point. But, I mean, I'm going to give a Utah victory. They're going to go to Kansas. Now, that Kansas game is going to be feisty in a week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
That worries me. Because they go to Kansas. Kansas has been scoring a lot. But you look at Colorado, they're scoring 41, 34, 34, 28, 48, 38. I mean, you're going to have to score points to beat this team. And I don't think Utah can do that, even with the quarterback change they've made. Here's the thing. Give Colorado props. They're starting to pick up some traction. I mean, I don't know have you seen the Julian Lewis potential flip?
Yeah, I have seen that. That would be something, man.
Yeah.
As much as I've been a Colorado hater, they're good for the Big 12. And signing players like that, I think that's good.
I mean, flipping a 5-star QB from USC and Lincoln Riley, and that also gives me hope that maybe Deion's taking the high school recruiting a little more seriously.
Maybe he plans on sticking around.
Yeah, which will be good. Yeah. So I mean, Colorado. I mean, the thing that's good. This is heading the right direction. They're the odds-on favorite now to win the Big 12. According to FanDuel, I think they are.
According to FanDuel, okay.
FanDuel. I mean, I think that FanDuel thinks they're better than BYU. So
okay.
I think they beat Utah. I don't think this should be.
Speaking of the Big 12, there's a game I bet, and that is Arizona State at Kansas State. This will be actually a pretty good game. I do believe Cam Scatabo is back from injury.
Yeah, I think so.
And but these are two teams with mobile quarterbacks and good running backs, and if you like watching creative run plays, this is the game for you. And so I have got Arizona State plus 8.5. I think Arizona State has been criminally underrated all season long. They're 7-2. 7-2 Arizona State. Hats off to Kenny Dillingham, man, flipping this thing. Like, that was an absolute disaster of a team that he inherited. And 7-2, they're winning games. You got what's their freshman quarterback that's pretty good? I forget his name. It's like Montel or something. I don't know.
I can't remember.
But anyway, I got Arizona State plus 8.5. I think 8.5 is too many points. You're giving me over a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Gets Kansas State probably, lots of run the ball, maybe a little bit lower scoring game.
Well, why is Arizona State not getting any love anywhere, in any polls?
I don't know. They should be ranked. I mean, if you're ranking Missouri.
If you're ranking Missouri, you should rank them. I mean, they got.
Are you really telling me that Missouri and Arizona State would be that different if they played? The line would be like 5, maybe 4.
No. I would absolutely take. Yeah, there.
And one team has looked a lot better than the other.
Yeah,
and that's Arizona State. But anyway, so I think Kansas State probably still wins, but I think they keep it close. Lower scoring game, lots of running. Give me ASU plus 8.5.
And we're going to get on November 23rd. Let's say they win this game. All of a sudden, they jump way. I mean, they still have a shot at this Big 12 title.
They absolutely do.
And then they're going to get their shot at BYU the next weekend. And at that point, I expect them to be ranked, and that will be a heck of a ball game. Forget Indiana, Ohio State. Let's focus on Arizona State, BYU, 12 after dark, Saturday night.
Yep.
That will be awesome. So that'll be at Arizona State. So I think you're right. I think Kansas State feels like that was my preseason pick. They feel like they've slipped a little bit and maybe slipping further.
Yep. Big 12 is chaos. Nobody could have picked out of the lineup Arizona State and BYU being good this year. Nobody could have told you that. But
now Jake, you've watched a number of episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I have.
You remember the scene where Charlie's got the board up there, where he's got all the things moving around.
It's like, hey, listen,
Let me explain this to you.
the mail's coming.
The mail, yeah. Okay. I've got a scenario where Baylor can get to the Big 12 championship.
All right, hit me with it.
Yeah. It takes a lot of things need to happen. But it first has to start with beating West Virginia in West Virginia this weekend.
Which, fun fact, not so fun if you're a Baylor fan. Baylor has never won in Morgantown. Not once.
Not so fast, my friends.
In the history of the Big 12.
Weekend. This weekend it is.
But
it's
this weekend breaks the streak. I can feel it. Please.
Listen, Sawyer Robertson is quietly becoming one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
He is. He absolutely is. He does not get the respect that he deserves.
No. Again, if he had an SEC patch on his thing, we'd be talking about him.
Underrated story coming out from nowhere. He was SEC. He was at Mississippi State, by the way.
Yes, he was. Yeah. This is a tough place for Baylor. Again, they've never had any success here, but I think Baylor goes in and wins this game. I think that offense is just clicking right now, and I think they'll score enough points, whatever it's going to take, to beat West Virginia this week.
Yeah. The other sneaky story besides this is that Baylor's defense has actually gotten worse over the season. So that's something to watch. I'm not sure. There's also been some issues with a couple of defensive players, some maybe quiet suspensions. One guy left the team. So that I think has also affected the defense.
Well, whatever it is, they struggle against the pass mightily.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
So that's why they're having to score a lot of points. Good thing they can.
Yeah. But they can, Sawyer Robertson, and he can run too. So
yeah, and I just don't know. I don't know. This is going to be. I don't know what the over under is on this game, but I would take the over. Would be my bet. Do you know what it is, Jake?
I do not. No, I don't know. I don't have a bet on that game.
But your last three games, Baylor's been 59, 38, and 37 points, but they're giving up 35, 28, 34. I mean, they're winning games, but they're having these are shootouts. So Baylor with the victory. So let's see what else do we want to talk about here. I know.
I got a couple more bets.
Okay, let me see. I don't really have a lot else, I think, on my bets. You know what? I've got one. Let's go out to Cal. I get Nebraska's 8.5-point underdog. Nebraska, went from 5-1 to now we're just praying they'll make a bowl. But I will tell you, all their losses within they had one exception where they got blown out. Everyone else has been within a touchdown.
Ohio State,
I think 8.5. What's that?
Ohio State, right?
No, they were within a touchdown of Ohio State.
No, wait. Who is it? Was the
who was the? Hold on, I'm gonna remember. Hold on. Everyone else has been within a touchdown.
Okay.
Who was the blowout? It was Indiana. Yeah, that's one. They just got ran out. Yeah. But this team started off 5-1, and has lost 3 in a row. And now we're worried about bowl eligibility with USC, Wisconsin, and Iowa coming up. I think 8.5 is too much against a not very good USC team. All the other games they've lost by 7 or less. I'm going to take Nebraska plus the 8.5. Give me 8.5 points. They may not win.
Fade Lincoln Riley.
I think they'll cover. Yeah.
Fade Lincoln Riley, maybe.
Fade Lincoln Riley. Yeah.
Interesting. Give me SMU minus 18.5 at hosting Boston College. Castellanos is out for Boston College.
He's not only out, he's gone. Gone. Like
what do you mean gone?
Sayonara. I think he entered the portal today or left the team. One of the two. Like, see you later, alligator.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought he was. I knew he was injured, but
no. He got benched and he left the team today. And I don't know if he actually entered the portal today, but he is gone.
Okay. Wait, did he not get injured? I just saw that he was out. I didn't know. Maybe he's he's not injured then. Okay,
he got benched. Which is a fun fact with Castellanos. Did you know he got benched at BC? That means that all 5 of Virginia Tech's wins this year have come against backup QBs or starters who later would be benched.
Good old VPISU moment.
Yeah, just proving that you're only beating backups or people that do get benched or not good.
Well, anyway, Boston College does not seem to have its crap together. And SMU absolutely has everything together. SMU scores like crazy. Everyone made fun of me for saying fade Bill O'Brien. but I stand by it. Fade Bill O'Brien.
Fade Bill O'Brien. It seems to have worked out well.
It just so happened that Bill O'Brien was better than Florida State this year.
No.
And then everyone's like, I can't believe Bill O'Brien's got it. Bill O'Brien didn't have it fixed. Florida State was just awful. So SMU, great offense. Give me them 18.5 points. I think they blow out Boston College.
I think you're probably right there. I think this SMU team's on a mission, and I think they got something to prove. I think Rhett Lashey's going to have to wait another year for those big-time jobs to open up, because I don't think there'll be any jobs to open up this year.
I tend to agree.
North Carolina's the only job.
If he makes the playoff, do they just give him a massive fat extension?
No. I mean, well, they might, but it's not going to be enough to keep him there long-term. I mean,
You don't think so?
No. The only job I think could open up this year would be, I think the one that probably will open up at least will be North Carolina. And,
I don't think he leaves SMU for North Carolina.
I don't think he does either.
They got more alignment at SMU. And honestly, probably the same amount or more NIL money.
I think you're right. But next year's, once they figure this house case out, they figure out what they got to pay. Next year's going to be a big year in college head coach opportunities all across I tend
to agree. Yeah.
You could have LSU, Oklahoma, Florida, Auburn. We can just keep going. That could all be opening. What, Florida State? Yeah. Think about all the jobs could be opening up next year. People don't have good.
Oh,
jobs.
Yeah.
So all right, give me, the team that I think's the biggest fraud out there. They're 12, Missouri. They're playing against South Carolina.
I thought about it, but
it's a 12.5
that's just
point.
Too many points for South Carolina.
Brady Cook's not playing. Brady Cook, I don't think, is going to play.
I don't trust South Carolina enough offensively. They have flashes, but they're so inconsistent.
No. You don't think South Carolina can't beat them at 12.5?
I think they can. I just don't know. I
think I watched them. The Missouri-Oklahoma game proved one thing, that unless you're Oklahoma and handing them the ball, South Carolina's going to just destroy this team.
You might be right. I just don't have enough confidence to bet it.
Give me South Carolina minus the 12.5. So
yeah. I got one more, and this is just, I kind of just looked at, I was like, what? What is this? What is this line? And the only reason I could think to explain this line, and this is in Oregon at Wisconsin, it's 14.5.
Huh?
Yeah.
Why is that so little? Because it's a road game?
Hold on.
Is Oregon playing its second string?
No. The only way I can think, it's actually 14 now. The only way reason I could think is that, are they just betting that Wisconsin, that Oregon just lays over and basically does nothing and puts nothing on tape for the next couple of weeks?
Maybe so.
Is that what they're going on? Because there's no, and I know Wisconsin's improved a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but there's no way that Oregon only beats Wisconsin by 14.5.
Yeah, that's,
and honestly, it's at 14 now. I would bet that's a better number than what I got. Moved in the wrong direction. So maybe the market just knows something that I don't. But I saw that line, I was just like, what? 14.5 at Wisconsin? Wisconsin?
Yeah, that's just nuts. I don't understand.
That feels like stealing money from the sports book. So
yeah, I'm clicking that one as fast as I can get it.
Yeah, I'll take that, please. Yeah, that line just made absolutely no sense to me. So
no,
maybe there's something there that I don't know. Are they playing all their backups? Who knows? But
yeah,
that should be over 18 in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. So, all right. Well, I don't have any other bets. That's about it. No other previews we want to talk about. I think we're getting to the point where things are starting to get a little clearer for conference races. I think the following weekend is going to be real exciting. We're going to have some big matchups the weekend of the 23rd.
Oh, yeah.
That will kind of tell us where things are really headed. So, we may have to do our podcast, let's see, Sunday night. We should be back on maybe Sunday night. Yeah, we should be able to do a normal Sunday
night.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
I got to get back. I'll be traveling, but I should be back.
All right.
So, okay. All right. Well, good. We'll enjoy the game this week. We'll see you in Gainesville.
Yep. See you there.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Good night, guys.